In the heart of a bustling city, a modern office building stood tall, its steel and glass façade reflecting the chaotic rhythm of urban life. It was an ordinary place, filled with cubicles and employees buried in their daily routines. But among the workers, a peculiar story had spread, the legend of the 13th floor. The building's official plans showed no 13th floor. Like many skyscrapers, superstition had led the architects to skip the number. However, according to rumors, if you pressed the button for the 13th floor at exactly 3:13 a.m., the elevator would stop at a floor that wasn't supposed to exist. Clara, a young financial analyst, first heard the tale during a casual chat with colleagues. Intrigued, she decided to test it herself. It's just a silly myth, she thought as she waited for her night shift to end. That night, as the last employees left, Clara stood alone in front of the empty elevator. She glanced at her watch, 3:12 a.m. Her finger trembled slightly as it hovered over the 13th floor button. At first, nothing happened. The elevator remained still. Just as she was about to laugh at her own gullibility, the doors abruptly shut and the indicator began to rise. There was no music, only the faint hum of the cables. Clara watched as the floor numbers climbed rapidly, 10, 11, 12, and then the display showed a simple 13. The doors slid open slowly, revealing a dark, silent corridor. The air felt dense, carrying a faint scent of dampness and rust. This floor was nothing like the others. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, and the floor creaked under her steps. Curious, Clara stepped out of the elevator, leaving the doors open. As she walked further, she noticed closed offices with names scrawled across the doors, the letters barely legible. Passing by a window, she froze. Instead of the city skyline, she saw an endless expanse of red and black nothingness, a surreal horizon that seemed to stretch forever. And then she heard it, a faint whisper like someone calling her name. She spun around, but the corridor was empty. When she turned back to the elevator, the doors closed abruptly, the metallic clang echoing ominously. Frantic, Clara pressed the call button repeatedly, but the elevator didn't return. Instead, the corridor lights began to flicker, and the whisper turned into a chorus of laughter and sobbing. Panicked, Clara ran, screaming for help, but the corridor seemed endless. The offices now stood open, and shadowy figures loomed inside, watching her with vacant eyes. Finally, she found a staircase at the end of the hall. She descended as fast as she could, but every floor she reached bore the same number, 13, the next day. Building security reviewed the footage. The cameras showed an empty elevator stopping on the 12th floor. Clara was never seen again. They say that if you try to summon the 13th floor at 3:13 a.m., you'll hear her voice pleading for help, trapped in a place where time and space cease to exist.